welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today is my December Part 2 wrap-up. Sorry I didn't get it up in December, but it happens. The book that I finished, these are in no particular order. This is Anna Karenina, which I finished as my first challenge to myself to read books that are between 600 and 1,000 pages. I've talked about that in my 2017 reader goals, and I'll link that down below. This was really fascinating to me. It was my first Russian literature. It was Leo Tolstoy. This was a story that I don't think that the films that I've seen have done justice. I think there's so much symbolism in this for the wealth of Russia and the poverty of Russia. I think it is beautiful, wonderful, eloquent, strong, and extremely sad. But it was fantastic. I really, really liked it. Next we have this. This was DNF'd. This is crap. I hate it. It's stupid. This is Chance by Kem Nunn, and this is the story of a gentleman who is a neuropsychologist. He falls in love with a woman with DID, and then he fantasizes and fetishizes the mental health. I won't. I read up to page 239. Like, I got to here, guys. I had less than 100 pages, and I couldn't do it. It's a TV show on Hulu now, and it makes my disorder seem trivial and sexual and weird, and it just misrepresents it so terribly. I was furious. Absolutely furious. The only thing that I hated worse than that book was The Crow Girl, and I've done a full in-depth review on that I will be posting later on this year, but, no. This is Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. I buddy read this with Brittany from Under the Radar Books. Her channel will be linked down below. This is a this is a dystopian. This is a dystopian about a young man who used to be called Jimmy and he's now called Snowman. I went into it knowing very little, and I think you should do the same. The only thing I would tell you about it is Atwood writes really beautifully in this. I enjoyed it more than other Atwoods I have read, but I found that it's not something I'm going to continue on for the series, but I may give Atwood another chance now that I've read this. Okay. This is the story of a brief marriage, and this takes place over 48 hours in a refugee camp. I cried for about an hour after I read this. It was heart-wrenching, and it was brutal. It was really hard to read. It's not for the weak of stomach, or the weak of heart. It's sad. There's no way around it. It was beautiful and wonderful, but oh my gosh, it packs a punch. This little book packs a punch, right in the gut. And, yeah, I was lucky enough to get a signed edition from my lit box, and as always, I'm always impressed by my lit box, but this, like, okay. This was my other My Lit box. This was from this month's. This is Zadie Smith's Swing Time. Now, Zadie Smith I had not read before. I own another one of her books called White Teeth, and I will now be picking that up. I think I want to go to On Beauty next, but White Teeth will happen. I really love this. I am a huge fan of 1940s, 1950s Hollywood glam. I am a huge fan of dance and all of those things that come with musical theater. This talks about two young girls. One girl who is extremely celebrated and very, very talented at dance, and one girl who wants to be talented at dance but unfortunately is not. She ends up working for a woman who is a dancer, and she supports her, and they end up going and helping people in other countries, and the one who is a very talented dancer ends up having a really hard life. You follow the two girls' stories, a friendship gone wrong, and the separation and the split. It opens and starts with the two of them looking back on their younger childhood and friendship. I really, really loved it. I think it was stunning. This was an Amanda Center recommendation. She bought me this for my birthday. She inscribed it. Look at the end papers. This is The Wind of the Willow by Kenneth Grahame, and I really enjoyed this. This was a nice, simple, calm, soft blanket type read. I really liked it. It reminded me of Redwall, which I haven't read in years and now I want to pick up. It reminds me a little bit of the Beatrix Potter feel, those little tiny animals having their own life and world. It was really enjoyable. I super liked it, and it was super easy to follow, and it was so much fun. A good one. Just a really good one. Next, I did finish the short story collection, The Wild Stories by Julia Elliott, who wrote Romeo and Futch. This is a very gothic southern short story collection. It takes place in the deep south. You can hear the voices, you can see the people, you understand what the characters are supposed to be portrayed as, you can hear the accents. It's really beautiful, just like Romeo and Futch. It is absolutely stunningly published by Tin House, and I really loved it. I think for me, I found it really nice to read it by the wood stove where it was really hot. I think I would have enjoyed it more in the summer, but it actually really works for the winter as well. It's super eerie and weird and creepy, but also very... It's like you feel like you're in the sticky south in the summer. It's just good. It's just goodness. Just such good ambiance. And then I finished this. This is Buffering by Hannah Hart. I went into this knowing only that it was talking about her life. I knew that her mother suffers from schizophrenia, but this really takes her to a whole nother level of honesty and self-realization and acceptance of her mother's illness and the childhood she had and how different it was and how different her mother is. She's really worked hard to be who she is and where she is now, and she has so much love for where she has come from and who has loved her as she grew up. And there's no shame in her discussion of her mother's illness. There's no shame in her past. I think this is stunning and wonderful and really fascinating. I really enjoyed it. It was really easily digestible for somebody who's not a big reader. If you're looking for a nonfiction to start nonfiction, like to dive into that, this is a really good place to begin. Last, not least, apparently somebody, I don't know how this got ripped, and I'm actually really upset about it, and I think I'm just like really upset. This is Planet Fall by Emma Newman. This was my favorite sci-fi of the year. It is now my favorite sci-fi of all time. This is a story of a group of settlers who go into outer space to find God and then settle at the base of a colony. They are unaware of what that colony is, and their life progresses from there until a stranger shows up at the door and they let him in. That's all I'm going to say. It's wonderful. A Book Pieces, Elizabeth, link her channel. This is what she recommended. I'm in the middle of the sequel and I can't bring myself to finish it because I'm too sad that the series will be over. This is the first time this has happened. This gave me a serious book hangover. I ended up reading The Wilds and A Brief Marriage after this, which were really good books, but they took forever, except for now, well... This gave me the worst book hangover I've had in a really long time. I continued to enjoy reading, but I couldn't pick up fantasy or sci-fi to save my life. This was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So, anyone, if you want to see a full in-depth review with potential spoilers, let me know down below in the comments. But this was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. Alright, you guys, that has been my December Part 2 reading wrap-up. I will see you guys soon. Bye.